everyone, it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this gorgeous Snapdragon Crochet Scarf. This is super easy to do. We're going to be crocheting this lengthwise, so you have these long, beautiful stripes of color. We're going to kind of use up each color until we're done with the ball of yarn, so it's just really easy to just use one color, then the next color, then the next color, and so forth. So this is a really easy kind of feel-good project that gives you a beautiful but really super comfy scarf. We're going to talk about the yarn in a minute, but it has a soft, silky, really nice scarf for around your neck. So the finished project is about 12 inches wide, and then this is about 58 inches long. So we can customize this, and I'm going to show you how to do that, but you know, we're going to make this one together, but I'm also going to show you how to change the sizing if you want to later. Now, before we begin, there's lots of ways to get this pattern. We're going to do the full video tutorial here on the channel today, and then you can also get the ad-free PDF in my Ravelry shop and my Etsy shop. And you can also join our Patreon group, and for $5 a month, you get all the month's worth of patterns over at Patreon. So all the links for that are down below. Also, to get more tutorials like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button to get all the latest Flux video updates. So let's get started. For this project, you're going to need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle to weave in the ends. A tape measure will be helpful, especially because we're making this scarf lengthwise, so you can really get the length that you want and the width that you need. We're going to be using a 5mm H crochet hook for this. And then for our yarn, we're going to use this lovely yarn. This is called True Boo from Lion Brand Yarn. I have 4 colors here. Now this is 4 balls of yarn, but like I mentioned before, there's a matching hat pattern. So we're going to use some of the yarn for the hat and some of the yarn for the scarf. But I'm going to go through the colors and the weight and information about substituting. And then we'll talk more specifically about the yards needed for the scarf itself in just a second. But I have 4 colors here, like I said. Now this is a light 3 on the yarn weight scale. So if you look at that little yarn ball with a number, and each ball of this is 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, 241 yards, and 220 meters. And like I said, we're not using the full ball of yarn for each color, just some of the ball, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But each ball of this too, of the True Boo, recommends a 4mm G crochet hook. If you notice, I'm going up 1 hook size because I wanted to have some drape. This is a really soft, silky yarn with some sheen to it. Kind of has like a glossy look. So I wanted to have a lot of nice drape, okay? So if you need to substitute yarn though, just look for that light 3 on the yarn weight scale and a recommendation of the G 4mm crochet hook, even though we are changing the hook size, but this weight will help you replicate that. Now, I have here a ball of the mulberry. This is called navy. This is called celery. And then sky. Okay, so I picked a little palette, just some light, lovely colors that work really pretty together. And we're going to do some stripes. And like I said, we're making this lengthwise, so our stripes will be lengthwise as well. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we have a matching hat, which is right here. So I used 4 balls of the yarn for both the hat and the scarf. For the scarf, if you just want to make the scarf though, is about 723 yards of the yarn we were talking about just a minute ago. So if you want to just make the scarf and not the hat, you'll know 723 yards of a number 3 light yarn on the yarn weight scale. Okay, so to get started on the scarf, I grabbed a color, any of the colors. Now you might want to grab your colors and think about your scarf when you start. And kind of put the colors in the order that you want to do and kind of like arrange them that way. Now, if you throw all the yarn balls in like a project bag or a basket or something, you could even use your phone and take a little picture of the colors in the order that you want them in before you start crocheting. Once you put a few rows in, you'll know what order they're going to be in. But sometimes I take a quick photo just to remember what order I did before I begin. Okay, so let's grab our first color. And for some reason I have a knot at the end of mine. I'm going to just give that a fresh cut. And like I said earlier in the video, we're going to make this lengthwise. So we're going to determine the length of the scarf first, and we're going to work a long strip and work this way with our stripes. So our stripes will be vertical when we wrap it around. So our multiple is a multiple of 4 plus 1. We're going to do 221 chains to start. That will be the length of the scarf. Now, if you're not familiar with multiples, all that means is when you're doing your starting chain, you're going to do 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 and so forth until your length is as long as you want it to be, and then add one more chain onto that. So I'm doing 221 chains. That's a lot of chains, but we're working this lengthwise, okay? So what we want to do first, and I'm going to come in a little bit so you can see better, is grab your first color, whatever color you want to start with, and we're going to put a slip knot on our hook. Wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Then what we'll do is we're going to do our starting chain. Our starting chain, like I mentioned, is 221. So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 220 and 221. Okay, I kind of skipped through all those so you wouldn't have to hear me count to 221. So this is our starting chain. This is going to be about the length of your scarf. So you might want to throw it around your neck or hold it up to your measuring tape and just see if it's as long as you want it to be, okay? Okay, so our scarf is going to be 2 easy rows. Row 1 is going to kind of set us up. We're going to be skipping chains and things like that. Row 2 is the row that you complete for the entire rest of the scarf. So once you get moving, it's pretty easy and fun to do. The first row, we're going to just kind of set everything up, okay? So for row 1, what we want to do is we're going to, in the 5th chain from the hook, so this loop here does not count on our hook. And actually, let me come in a teeny tiny bit more so you can see better. This loop here does not count. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That 5th chain from the hook, we're going to work 3 double crochets. So to make a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert the hook into that chain, and bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops. And then that's 1 double crochet, and we're going to do our 2nd double crochet and our 3rd double crochet, just like that. Then what we want to do is skip 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and in the chain after that, what we're going to do is work a single crochet into the next chain. So insert the hook into the next chain and bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on the hook this time. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. Then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And in that same chain, work 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3, just like that. All right. Then we're going to continue this sequence all the way across. So let's do a few together and then we'll kind of depart and work on it on our own, okay? So next, once again, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in that next chain, work a single crochet, okay? Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the same chain, work 3 double crochet, okay? So 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Okay, let's do a few more together. Now, once we kind of start going off on our own, you can always back up the video and rewatch any of this. And YouTube also has a slow motion feature. You can slow it down if you need to. Okay, but we're going to do a few more together because you'll be just repeating this all the way across. So next, you want to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the chain after that, work a single crochet. We're just repeating what we've been doing. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then in the same chain, 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3. All right. Skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the chain after that, work a single crochet. Same thing as before, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the same chain, work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Now you'll notice we're getting some pretty kind of points, some sideways looking boxes, okay? We're going to be working into those later. Okay, let's do this one more time, the sequence that we've been doing, just to do it one more time, and then we'll kind of depart and work on the row on our own. Okay, so once again, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the chain after that, work a single crochet, chain 3, 1, whoops, 2, 3, and in the same chain, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Just like that, okay? So then we're just going to be repeating this all the way across what we've just done. So keep going by skipping 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, the next chain, single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the same chain, 3 double crochet, okay? So 1, 2, and 3. Just like that, okay? And then we're just going to do that all the way across. So when we return, you want to just keep going until you have about 4 chains left, and then we'll kind of wrap up the row together, okay? So keep going across, and when we rejoin, we'll finish up row 1 and move on to row 2. Okay, we're just coming up to the end of the row. I went all the way across with our sequence, and now we're at the end, so I have 4 chains left. Now just to finish the row, we're going to skip the next 3 chains like we've been doing, and in that very last chain, we're just going to work 1 double crochet to finish the row, okay? So work 1 double crochet, and then row 1 is complete. So you can kind of check it out, throw it around your neck, make sure you're still getting the length that you want, or your tape measure, either one. So we're going to move on to row 2. Now, like I mentioned before, row 2 is the row you'll repeat for the whole rest of the scarf. So we're going to stick with this same color because I want my stripes to be a little bit wider. And I'll show you how to change colors in just a bit. But let's stick with this same color to learn row 2. So for row 2, all we're going to do is chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to turn our work. All right. Then what we'll do is at the base of this chain that we just made, that first chain that we worked, you can kind of see at the bottom, it's like a, that first chain, and then there's like an opening. So that first chain at the base of our chain here, what we're going to do is work 3 double crochets into that chain. Okay, so 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to work into the chain 3 spaces from these little groupings that we did. So the easy way to find them is, if you look at this, we have points that we've created. So see how we just have these almost like little mountains. At the top of these mountains we made them by doing 3 double crochets, which are here, and then this was the turning chain, okay? So if you kind of look at it, there's an opening here. If you go to that top point, right here there's an opening. That's the turning chain space. So in the written pattern over at the blog and the PDF patterns that I have, I refer to that in the written pattern as the chain 3 space. So in that chain 3 space right here, we're going to work a single crochet right into that space. And then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 more double crochet in that same space. So 1, 2, 3. So we're kind of doing what we did in the chains a row back, but we're working into the space instead. And what's going to happen is the points are going to go the opposite direction. So they're all going to, for row 1 and row 2, they're all the pieces are going to kind of fit together. Okay. And you'll see what I mean as we work a little bit more. So hop over to the next chain 3 space. So locate that point, that next point that you see, and in that space there, work a single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochet in that chain 3 space. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and you're just going to do this all the way across. So let's do 1 or 2 more together, and then we'll kind of depart and do our own thing. So go to the next chain 3 space, work a single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochet in that chain 3 space. So 1, 2, and 3. Let's do one more. Hop over to the next point and off to the side there, that chain 3 space, work your single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochet in that chain 3 space. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing this all the way across. If you need to back up the video a little bit, that's totally fine, or slow motion like I mentioned before, but just keep doing this all the way across in each one of those chain 3 spaces. And then when we come back, we're going to learn how to finish up row 2 and change colors for when you're ready to change colors. I am going to make my stripes a little wider, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. But keep repeating row 2 over and over and over again, and then your scarf will be as wide as you want. So for the meantime though, we're going to keep going with row 2 all the way across here, and when we get towards the end of row 2, we'll rejoin and learn how to finish up row 2. Just coming up to the end of the row here, and to finish, we have our last little grouping of double crochets from the previous row, and then we have a turning chain that creates a space. All we're going to do to finish the row is work a single crochet into the turning space, the turning chain space rather, okay? And that's how you finish the row. So row 2 is complete. To finish your scarf, you're just going to keep repeating row 2 over and over and over for as long as you want. Now, you can change colors as often as you want. I do want a little bit thicker of a stripe for mine, so I am going to continue with this color. However, what I'm going to do is act as if I'm done and I'm ready to switch colors, because I want to show you just real quick how to do that. So just cut the yarn, wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the loop to fasten off, and then you're going to grab your new yarn color, insert the hook back into that same stitch, bring the new yarn through, and then just tie it right on, and that's all. Now there's other ways to join yarn and add new colors. If you have a preferred way to do that, definitely feel free to do that instead. There's no right or wrong way to do it. That's just like how I like to do it. But then what you want to do is reinsert your hook back into that same stitch, bring up a loop, and then you're ready to go, and keep repeating row 2. So just keep repeating row 2, changing colors as often as you like to create your stripes. If you're doing all one color, obviously you don't need to change colors or anything. But if you need to add a new yarn ball, you can do it that way too. But just keep repeating row 2 over and over and over again. And when we rejoin, we'll do a little finish work. Okay, so we've woven in all the ends, and now our scarf is complete. It is drapey, it has a beautiful, soft, silky feel to it. It's just a wonderful kind of feel-good scarf. So that is how you crochet the Snapdragon Crochet Scarf. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.